that is building. So that one building that started 10 years ago for this particular one local business guy has built 16 more, and that's really reflective of really the power of the industry impacting local communities and their economies. So very, very excited to actually showcase Cebu because it's really just 3 things I wanted to cover with you today. We're not going to go through so many numbers, but the key highlights around the growth story of the industry. How much have we grown? How much we think, or our members, 80 of them, think they're going to grow this 2013, and where we still think we're going to continue growing through 2016. The second thing is, as you see in all these surveys, is we talk about also what our members again should say. These are our key challenges to growth or headwinds to growth. And then finally, we're going to also talk about opportunities. So what are some of the opportunities that in front of what collectively we need to be thinking about over and beyond what as individual companies we might be working on. Now, let me also highlight a couple of changes in this particular year's conference. In the big room, and then we will have track sessions. Everybody in rooms of 200 to 300 people with a speaker in front. What we've done with this particular conference is we made the conference really focus on the delegate. Focus on you and what you're interested in and what kind of participation we want. We want it to be the delegates conference. We want it to be our members conference and not just us shaping the plenary sessions. On top of the track briefing sessions that we have, we've also added a few more sessions that are going to engage the delegates even more than we've ever done before. So we have workshop sessions. In a workshop, essentially, the delegates are actually going to solve through some of these industry challenges and issues. So it's facilitated by our best thought leaders in the industry. So have assembled a couple of master classes. And a master class is a senior executive coaching mentoring session. There's a group of 10 of our members who are going to sit down with some of our leading thinkers to actually talk through certain topics like how do you move from small, medium size to large-scale operations? How do you differentiate your brand in the market, especially if you're a small, medium-sized company? So there's a lot of really personal forum now. We always conduct our CEO forum, but the first time we've integrated it in our conference. And as of yesterday, it was interesting. We had 64 of our membership CEOs sign up and say we're going to take part into that. Right? So we've also invited analysts, leading thinkers, to frame the challenge and issue. They're going to go through, what are they going to go through? They're going to go through the issues that those 80 members in the survey said are our key issues. So there's going to be a CEO forum on calling. We always have big discussion on talent and our talent challenges. So it's a very interesting session because you do go through real challenges as reflected by our members and you try to arrive at common theme group solutions to move it forward. Alright, now let's jump into the report. So I said I'm going to talk about growth, I'm going to talk about challenges our respondents in the survey had shared with us, and we're going to talk about opportunities. As far as the growth numbers are concerned, they continue to be in this hyper-growth range. Now for a couple of years now, if you've been tracking what we say, we've been giving a guidance of industry growth to be within 15 and 18%. And for the last 2 to 3 years, we've been a little bit wrong because we've actually been a little bit higher than the 15 to 18%. Now, this particular year is going to be within that guidance, so we're excited to report that according to the 80 members that actually responded to this survey, we actually are going to end. So the big story headline is actually annual news for us, that the growth continues to be very strong and will continue to be on this hyper-growth trend. Now, if you even introduce some level of tapering, marginal tapering over the remaining years of 2016, we're still going to end up as an industry that employs over $8.3 billion of revenues. So what does that mean? It means if we think we've grown really big and it's become really busy, we think that we gotta actually anticipate that that's going to continue. The appetite and the demand is there. And we need to make sure we continue whatever we're doing to make sure we maintain that growth. So continued high growth is characteristic of what our 80 members have said in the survey. A few nuances in the characteristics of that growth. So one nuance is, and we've seen this now for a couple. In 2011, it was around 55.6%. In 2012, last year, it went down to about 51%. And in this particular year survey, the US as a share of our client market base went down to about 46%. So I think it is along the lines of what we wanted to do as an industry for some time now, which is market diversification. We're seeing that. And as you can see in the slides, right, Australia, New Zealand, which is no surprise, is the fastest growing new market for the industry that's being served. Our members in the survey, that also is going through the same trend. It continues to actually, slowly shrink as a share of all the work that we do, and a lot more work, or some work, growing into the financial services, technical support, and sales area. So again, diversification, the type of services we are offering. Finally, when you look at the verticals where our clients belong, telecommunications continue to be the strongest. We see a characteristic of this continued hypergrowth trend. Next, we tackle what did the members say when they say, what are your key issues? And no surprise, talent will always be there, right? English, some people were very specific, it is the English. And some people were more broad. It's talent supply, sustainability of talent supply, and getting certain talent in certain types of skill profiles is also difficult. But broadly, these are the two categories. Costs, all of a sudden, as an area of concern, rival talent, right? Cost was never really as high rank as that. So first time we're seeing costs going up. And I think last year, or this particular last 12 months, we've seen a couple of things, right? 9, 10 months ago, everyone was thinking, is the peso going to strengthen further to 39? As to what's the sensitivity, right? Up to what point can you hold? And now it kind of swung back to 43, 44, and you don't really know where it's, that's part of the big discussion in our CEO forum, the currency fluctuation and managing our costs. But that, I think, is one. The second is interesting, electricity came high. And in reality, I think that was a lot of doing of CCAP also, because we brought our costs on electricity. But at the same time, we started hearing about this VAT issue, for PESA registered company. All of a sudden, it's top of mind issue. Now, I think a lot of the interest in cost is also triggered, this is my opinion, by the fact that when we were facing a much stronger peso, everybody started in the survey saying, how are you doing? It's really cost management, right? So I think it amplified our focus on cost, and I think that's what's going on in the survey that we're seeing here. Interesting also, SME support became a top area, and I think that's also a function of the association actually having an explicit agenda and committee council by our members focusing on the needs of our small, medium-sized enterprises. So I'm actually delighted that's coming up as an uptick on legislative regulatory. I think the filing of the Magna Carta for BPO workers alerted a lot of us as to what that means and other things that are going on. What's also interesting is, like the secretary said, last year, one of our top issues was actually disaster preparedness and management. But if you remember, we did a survey last year after the flooding caused by the Habagat. Now, if we had done the survey now, after the recent flooding in Manila, it might be in the topics we want to keep pursuing as an industry. So, we are not here to also give you, here's the work that everyone's doing, including the association, to address the issues. We are not here to offer solutions at this point. That's really the subject of the 2.5-day conference. It is the CEO forum, those in the workshops, those in the sessions, and the panel discussions that we're going to have that are going to go through these issues that you said and say, what is it? What does it mean? Based on the many sessions that we've actually crafted in this particular conference. All right, let's talk about the last segment of what I wanted to share with you, which is really opportunities. And opportunities for me is really what else as an entire industry who's become #1, and according to analysts since 2010, can we be doing to protect that position and to evolve our industry? So a lot of these would sound very conceptual, and we've heard it before, and I think it's time to actually start thinking about suggested themes that will actually potentially drive the CCAP agenda moving forward. So one, I think, is the strengthening peso experience. every time that happens, it happened already before, when you have discussion,